Having finished the housework, I collapsed on the carpet to rest, when I suddenly heard a childish voice. "I've sacrificed so much for my mom to be beautiful. Having to be held by such a sloppy woman every day, doesn't anyone consider my feelings?" I abruptly sat up and looked at my son, who was lying next to me, chewing on his hand. Just as I thought I was hallucinating from exhaustion, the voice appeared again. "What are you looking at? So annoying. If it weren't for the fact that you take pretty good care of me, I would have found a way for Dad to kick you out already." I pinched myself hard. The pain proved that the voice I just heard wasn't my imagination. Just as I was pondering what those two sentences meant, someone rang the doorbell. The next second, my best friend opened the door and walked in. Seeing her carrying bags and bags of baby supplies, I subconsciously said, "I told you, we have everything at home. Why are you wasting money again?" My best friend put down her things and headed to the bathroom as usual. "What's wrong with me spending some money on my godson?" "Don't be jealous, there's dessert in the bag for you." This interruption made me temporarily forget what had just happened. I took out a Black Forest cake from the bag. Just as I sat down on the sofa, I heard that voice again. "Mom, come hold me. I really want to smell the sweet scent on Mom's body." The action of unwrapping the dessert stopped. I watched my best friend walk out of the bathroom, quickly walk to my son, and take him into her arms. "Ah, my son is so well behaved today. Let Godmother give you kisses." After being rubbed on his little face by my best friend, my son laughed nonstop. At the same time, I also heard a sigh. "Mom's skin is so smooth." Alas, if I weren't afraid of Mom being too tired, I would really want to be with her every day. Although I don't understand why I would suddenly hear these things. But that Mom being called again and again, which was obviously not calling me, made me have many questions. With this premise, looking at the scene of my best friend and son getting along, I realized something was wrong. It seems that every time Ching is here, my son, who is extremely difficult to coax, often smiles. Is this a coincidence? Or is my son, who can't even control his poop and pee right now, doing it on purpose? Ching, anyone who didn't know would think Lele is your son. Every time you come, he's like an angel baby. If he could always be so easy to take care of, I wouldn't be tortured like this. I said this jokingly. Because I kept staring at Ching, I didn't miss the flash of smugness in her eyes. "Moo moo, you can't say that. It is true that you work hard to take care of the child, but doesn't Lele also bring you a lot of sense of achievement and joy?" The childish voice followed along. "You are the nanny carefully selected by my parents. Recognize your identity, it's your honor to take care of me." Ching was concentrating on teasing Lele and didn't notice that I had a serious face and was deep in thought. Because I was busy with work during pregnancy, it had an impact on the fetus in my womb. Not only was Lele premature, but he was also a high-needs baby. He needed to be held constantly when he was uncomfortable. As soon as he was put down, he would whine and fuss incessantly. Whether he peed or pooped, it had to be taken care of as quickly as possible. If it was even a little late, he would burst into loud cries. In severe cases, he would even cry until he stopped breathing. Because Lele's situation was special. I went through 3 confinement nannies during my postpartum period. Everyone said it was because I wasn't careful during my pregnancy that my child was suffering so much. I also felt extremely guilty, and finally made a decision after Lele was 100 days old. To change my life plan. Resign from my job and return to my family to be a full-time mom. Now Lele is 8 months old. Although I have a nanny to help, I am still physically and mentally exhausted. After taking care of the child for less than half a year, I feel like I've aged 10 years. I have no desire to lose weight, no desire to dress myself up. Seeing me so unkempt, except for the times when he would say a few more words to me about Lele. Shu most of the time doesn't even bother to talk to me. I feel dissatisfied and wronged. But I simply don't have the strength to argue with him. 5 months of wholeheartedly caring for Lele. My marriage has reached a stalemate. My body is flashing red lights. And now you're telling me that Lele might not be my son? Then where is my child? What about all the hardship and effort I've put in these past few months? Stroking the packaging bag of the small cake in my hand. My heart is filled with mixed emotions. 20 minutes ago, Ching was still the person I was most grateful for after giving birth. If it weren't for her coming to see me every now and then, helping me take care of the child and listening to me complain about the frustrations of life, I might have already broken down. But the child I've worked so hard to take care of is actually calling her mom? It's too absurd. Thinking of this, I suddenly laughed out loud. Thinking about something happy? Tell me so I can hear it. Ching, with a smile in her eyes, looked up. Our eyes met, and because I had doubts in my heart, I took a careful look at Ching and was stunned. I've always known that Ching was good-looking. But only then did I realize. Sometime without my knowing, she had developed an indescribable charm. I remembered when I was pregnant, Ching said she was away for training and studying. I remembered Ching, who looked a little plumper than I remembered, only appeared after Leilei's 100th day. Even though I didn't want to admit it, the answer was already obvious. For a moment, I even felt a little unsteady. What are you spacing out for? You haven't really been driven crazy by taking care of the child, have you? Ching casually placed Leilei on the carpet. My gaze followed, and I subconsciously held my breath. As a result, I saw Leilei playing by himself. This was completely different from how he usually cried for at least 10 minutes after I put him down. Taking a deep breath, a sense of powerlessness welled up from the bottom of my heart. The differential treatment was so obvious, why hadn't I noticed it before? Moo moo, what's wrong with you? I've been talking to you for a long time, why aren't you paying attention to me? There were still many doubts that I hadn't cleared up. I couldn't make a rash move. I casually made up an excuse to brush it off. I asked Ching if she was free tomorrow. If there's anything you need help with, why don't you just ask me directly? Looking at Ching's feigned angry expression, I gave her an apologetic smile. My heart hasn't been feeling too well these past few days, and I want to go to the hospital to get it checked out. If you have time, help me watch Leilei. I don't dare leave the nanny alone with the child. Although I was already 80% sure. I still needed to see accurate results before I could decide what to do next. Before that, I couldn't completely let go of Leilei. So when I went out, I needed to find someone to help me take care of the child. My parents had gone on a trip out of town for a few days. My in-laws had always been somewhat dissatisfied with me because of Leilei's health. To avoid arguments, we hadn't even seen each other these past few months whenever Shi wasn't around. And if Ching was really Leilei's biological mother, then she was undoubtedly the best person to take care of the child. Fortunately, Ching agreed without thinking. I had seen online before what was needed to do a paternity test. I chatted with Ching while thinking about what I could get her to leave behind. Suddenly, I thought of the diamond hairpin that Ching had praised several times before. Ching looked at me in confusion as I suddenly got up and went to the walk-in closet. Seeing me take out a mirror, she asked doubtfully, "What are you going to do?" I didn't say anything, and put the hairpin in her hair. Then I held up the mirror for her to see. "Don't you like this hairpin? My hair is falling out so much, I probably won't have a chance to wear it in the future. It's not a waste to give it to you." In the mirror, Ching unconsciously touched her hair. With a smile on her face, she said the opposite of what she meant. "Hair grows back, so giving me such an expensive hair clip is a loss for you." I pretended the hair clip didn't look good in its place and used a bit of force to remove it. Ching hissed, and I quickly apologized. "Look at me, holding the baby has made me stronger." I pulled out some of your hair. "Don't be mad." I pulled the hair tangled in the hair clip off and threw it into the trash can beside me. Ching rubbed her head and laughed. "What's there to be angry about? This is the price of beauty." Not long after Ching left, happily wearing the 5-figure hair clip, Leilei, tired from playing, also fell asleep. While the nanny wasn't paying attention, I retrieved the hair I had just thrown into the trash can. Perhaps because I pulled the hair with too much force, almost every strand had a follicle on it. I put it in a small bag and labeled it. I also pulled out a few strands of my own and put them in another bag. Lele's hair is thin, and I can't see if there are follicles on it. I can only wait for him to wake up and cut his nails, and put them together with his hair. Ji Shishu, who came home from work, heard me say I was going to the hospital for a checkup. He rarely showed concern and said a few words: "If you're too tired, hire another nanny, or have our mothers take turns helping out. Don't try to handle everything alone." I used drinking water to cover up the bitterness that appeared in my chest after hearing those words. If I hadn't developed a strong heart in my previous job, the experiences of the past few months would have been enough to destroy my spirit. If it hadn't been for that magical experience today, hearing Ji Shishu's comfort so suddenly, I might have been so moved that I couldn't help but cry. But now, thinking of Lele calling him dad and he Shurqing mom, my heart feels so heavy. Afraid of disturbing Ji Shishu's sleep and affecting his work the next day, we have been sleeping separately since the baby was born. Because I said my heart felt uncomfortable, Ji Shishu took the initiative for the first time to say he would take care of the baby for a night. The next morning, a refreshed Ji Shishu put Lele in my arms. This child really knows how to be considerate. I told him not to make a fuss at night, otherwise Dad won't have the energy to work the next day, and he really slept through the whole night. I tugged at the corners of my mouth and looked down at Lele, who had his big eyes open, making eye contact with me. Immediately afterward, that voice appeared again: "Of course, I feel sorry for my dad. As for you, the nanny, I just want to torment you. It's all because of you that mom can't live with us." Before the nanny could clean the room, I searched Ji Shishu's sleeping place inside and out. He Shurqing came early. After casually giving a few instructions, I walked out of the house alone. Breathing in the fresh air outside, for a moment, I felt a little dazed. How long has it been since I looked at the sky properly? How long has it been since I basked in the sun properly? Just had a baby. How can I not even control my own life? I have a friend who works at an appraisal agency. I even paid extra to get the results as soon as possible. Maybe they've seen my situation too many times. My friend didn't ask any questions. They personally oversaw the process with several samples. I learned that the results wouldn't be available until tomorrow at the earliest, so I turned around and went to the hospital. My heart really wasn't feeling well. The longest stretch I've slept in the past few months has been less than 3 hours. Anxiety, stress, and clumps of hair falling out. Every morning, I wake up to the sound of the baby crying. My dreams are filled with the baby's dissatisfied wails. I can't even imagine what I would be like now if I didn't have a nanny to help me with the housework and lend a hand when I can't manage. What I would be like now. You have quite severe myocardial ischemia. You need to adjust your schedule immediately. If you continue to neglect it, you are very likely to die suddenly. When I got home, he Shurqing was holding Lele and watching TV. After I recounted the doctor's words, he Shurqing was silent for a long time. "Moo moo, let's find someone else to help. I will also come and keep you company often. You can't keep burning the candle at both ends like this." After Ji Shishu came back, he held the diagnosis report and looked at it for a long time. Before going to bed, I heard him make a phone call to his mother. The next morning, my in-laws rang the doorbell with their luggage. It wasn't yet time for Ji Shishu to go to work, so he explained a lot of things to his in-laws. After Ji Shishu left, my mother-in-law, rarely not giving me a cold look, said, "Moo moo, you go get some more sleep. Your dad and I have discussed it. We will help you take care of the baby this month. If you think we are doing a good job, we will always come. If you are not satisfied, we will switch with your parents to help you. We will learn from each other, make progress together, and will never let you shoulder everything alone like before." This morning, Lele, like when he was with he Shurqing, gave his grandparents a lot of face. He only cried once while I was catching up on sleep. Completely different from when I take care of him myself. While I was in the bathroom, I heard my in-laws talking in the study. our grandson isn't as difficult to take care of as Moo says. Is it possible that she doesn't know how to take care of the baby, which is why she's worn herself out like this? My father-in-law told my mother-in-law to say less, and since they came, they should help properly. But my mother-in-law clearly hadn't said enough. Is her examination report real? Our son wasn't tricked by her, was he? It's a good thing that Moo is ambitious, but if she's trying to trick us to go back to work, I won't let her get away with it. Quietly returned to the room. I picked up my phone to ask my friend when the appraisal report would be available. While I was typing, my friend sent me a link. Mooning, the child is indeed not yours, but he is related to the owners of the other 2 samples. The heart that had been hanging for more than 20 hours instantly plummeted to the bottom. With trembling hands, I clicked on the link. I've read the conclusions of the 3 reports countless times. The name on the sample is in my handwriting. And my friend has always been meticulous since childhood. With him watching over the entire process, the samples could never have been mixed up. So, my husband of many years really got together with my best friend, who I grew up with. And I foolishly gave up my promising future, wasting my health and life to take care of their child. Then where is my child? In the months I was racking my brains to take care of Lele, did my child have enough to eat and wear? My child. Is he still alive? When people are sad to the extreme, they can't even cry out loud. I kept pounding my chest, and tears kept falling patta, patta. After crying for almost half an hour, I called a few friends. At the same time, I also called the police. When I came out of the room, my mother-in-law, who was about to say something when she saw my red and swollen eyes, closed her mouth again. She winked at my father-in-law. Then she sat next to me with Lele in her arms. Moo, look how obedient Lele has been this morning, you should hold him. As soon as I met Lele's eyes, his inner voice automatically rang in my ears. As long as you dare to hold me, I'll cry for you. I love to see you at a loss. I stared blankly into space, as if I hadn't heard anything. A few friends arrived quickly. They were surprised to see so many people all of a sudden. Although my parents-in-law were a little confused, they still busied themselves pouring water for everyone. But when she saw Ji Shishu, who was supposed to be at the company, walk in, my mother-in-law was unhappy. Moo, what's the big deal that you had to call Asu back at this time? In the process of her complaining, someone rang the doorbell again. Seeing the police, the faces of my parents-in-law and Ji Shishu, except for those few friends, had different expressions. Not only did you bring so many people, but you also brought the police. What do you want to do? Looking at Ji Shishu's angry face, I finally opened my mouth, word by word. Where is my child? Where did you take the child I gave birth to? My parents-in-law looked blank. And Ji Shishu's face changed instantly. The police spoke in a timely manner. Hello, we received a report that Ms. Lin claimed that her child was switched at birth. There is a birth certificate and a paternity test to prove it. Mr. G, are you aware of this? My mother-in-law's legs suddenly went weak. If my father-in-law standing next to her hadn't supported her, she might have fallen to the ground. How is that possible? Isn't Lele my grandson? Then where is my grandson? Ji Shishu was so anxious that he was sweating. Officer, this is all a misunderstanding. My wife has been too tired taking care of the child lately. She might have some mental issues. The child is fine, look how much he looks like me. Hearing this, the mother-in-law immediately perked up. Yes. Lele looks almost exactly like Axie when he was little. This is my grandson. Immediately after, the mother-in-law glared at me with anger. Lin Muning. Why can't you just live a good life? Do you have to make everyone miserable? What are you up to? Looking at the warning in Ji Shishu's eyes, I sneered. I didn't say the child isn't yours. I'm asking you, where is the child I gave birth to? What do you say? Lele's biological mother. As soon as the words fell, everyone followed my gaze and looked at He Shiqing, who had just unlocked the door with her fingerprint. Anyone could see it. He Shiqing's face turned pale instantly after hearing my question. Moo, what are you talking about? I don't understand. Looking at He Shurching's awkward smile, I hugged Lele, who was sucking on his hand in the cradle. This child has tormented me for more than 5 months. I almost lost my life because of him. Saying that, I raised the swaddling clothes high. What if I drop him to his death? As soon as I made a feigned move, He Shurching screamed and rushed over. No. Give me back my son. He Shurching's sharp nails scratched several bloody marks on the back of my hand. I shook my hand, not taking it seriously. After looking at He Shurching, who was slumped on the ground, crying woo-woo while holding the child, I turned my gaze to Ji Shirshu. Where is my child? Seeing that he was looking down and not responding, I stepped forward and slapped him hard. I'm asking you, where is my child? The parents-in-law, who were bewildered by the successive reversals, came back to their senses because of my roar. The mother-in-law burst into tears and patted Ji Shirshu's back. What exactly is going on? Why did you have a child with Mumu's friend? Where is the child Mumu gave birth to? Seeing that Ji Shirshu still had no intention of speaking, I couldn't hold it in any longer. I vented all the grievances and unwillingness I had accumulated over the past few months, as well as my worries about the child. I slapped Ji Shirshu's face again and again. I cried loudly and roared forcefully. In front of a dozen people in the house, I didn't care about my image at all. I only knew that I wanted to seek justice for myself and my child who I had never met. Your child is already dead. He Shurching's voice brought me back to my senses. Seeing me turn my head to look at her, He Shurching visibly flinched. Mumu, you gave birth to a daughter. Because the child was premature, her body was too weak, and she also contracted pneumonia. The child died on the day she was born because she couldn't be saved. Although I had a premonition in my heart. But knowing that the child I had been looking forward to for so long had left the world before she even had time to open her eyes and see it, I still felt so uncomfortable that I couldn't breathe. Mumu, I'm sorry, I never meant to break up your family. He Shurching hugged Lele tightly, the two of them crying pitifully, making my grimacing face look like a villain. Where is the child buried? The police asked. We cremate here. Without a death certificate, the child must have been buried directly. In the hospital flower bed. Ji Shirshu finally spoke. His voice was terribly hoarse, and he didn't dare to look me in the eye at all. Where's my placenta? Bringing up the placenta at this time doesn't mean I'm missing the point. It's just that I suddenly remembered when Lele was 100 days old. He Shurching, whom I hadn't seen for a long time, was a bit chubby, but her complexion was visibly good. Since Ji Shirshu could handle my child silently. I don't know what Ji Shirshu, who said he would find a place to bury the placenta properly, would do. Seeing Ji Shirshu glance at He Shurching subconsciously, I also turned around. Under my glaring gaze, He Shurching trembled and said, that placenta, I ate it. With a smack, I slapped He Shurching. Seeing her biting her lower lip and silently shedding tears, I couldn't stand it, so I slapped the other side of her face as well. Enough! Probably afraid that I would hit He Shurching like I hit him. Ji Shirshu grabbed my arm. It was wrong of me to hide the child's matter from you, but your condition was not good at that time. If I told you that the child was gone as soon as it was born, I don't know what would have become of you. 5 years of dating, 3 years of marriage. I understand what Ji Shirshu's unfinished words contain. Are you trying to say that giving me that little bastard to raise was for my own good? Ji Shirshu warned with dissatisfaction. Lin Muning, there should be a limit to your madness. Lele is so young, no matter what, you have taken care of him for a few months, how can you call him a bastard? It's so ridiculous. 2 pieces of trash who messed around with each other right under my nose. They actually have the nerve to argue with me about what to call the child. What high-sounding words. Aren't you just thinking of using me as a free nanny? As if his innermost thoughts had been exposed, Ji Shirshu broke down. Your work caused you to have a bad pregnancy, and our daughter was gone as soon as she was born. I didn't cause you any trouble, and I even gave you a son to make up for it. What else are you not satisfied with? It's not like I can't afford to support you, why work so hard? If you hadn't done this, your son would always be yours, he would call you mom, and he would take care of you in your old age. Bang! One friend couldn't stand it anymore and kicked Ji Shirshu. With someone starting the beating, two more friends who had been listening for a while joined in. The three of them punched and kicked Ji Shirshu, leaving him defenseless. The mother-in-law was crying the whole time. Seeing Ji Shirshu being beaten, she tried to stop them. But the father-in-law grabbed her. This is the result of your constant coddling. If you didn't teach him well when he was young, someone else will educate him when he grows up. Perhaps this was the first time the police had seen such a bizarre case. Seeing that the friends were about to stop, the police stepped forward to intervene. You guys, go back to the police station with my colleagues to make a statement. The rest of you come with me to find the child's body. We need to do an autopsy to see how the child died. Everyone in the house, without exception, had to go to the police station. He Shih-ching couldn't avoid it, even if she didn't want to. Seeing everyone getting up, I looked at Shih-chen, who was still sitting there. Did you record everything? Seeing him nod, I looked at Ji Shirshu, whose face was bruised and swollen. I want a divorce, and you're leaving with nothing. Before Ji Shirshu could speak, his mother was against it. Why leave with nothing? Moo, Asu did something wrong to you, you can hit him, scold him, I can even accept that you don't want to be with him anymore, but you can't be so extreme. He Shih-ching didn't dare to speak. But I could tell from her expression that she was also unhappy with what I said. Looking at these faces in front of me, the faces of those I once considered my closest family, I laughed. I'm being extreme? Which of the things your son has done isn't extreme? The mother-in-law was, after all, in the wrong. But still wanting to argue, she muttered a few words, and I retorted directly, he comfortably enjoys my efforts. I quit my job to take care of a bastard who has nothing to do with me. For that bastard, I'm unkempt every day, unable to eat or sleep, and now even my heart has problems. The doctor said that if I continue like this, I might die suddenly. This is all caused by your son's selfishness. You owe me, not me owing him. How can you have the nerve to say I'm being extreme? I've given so much, lost so much, shouldn't he compensate me? The mother-in-law couldn't say anything more. Looking up and seeing Ji Shirshu looking at me with a complicated expression, I ignored him. I walked out ahead of him and got into the police car. Several friends had already been taken away by the police car. Worried that I couldn't handle it alone, Shih-chen discussed with the police, and he accompanied me to the hospital to dig up the child's body. With him sitting next to me. On the way, Ji Shirshu in the same car didn't say anything. The child was wrapped in plastic wrap by Ji Shirshu and buried under a ginkgo tree in the hospital garden. Watching the small bundle being dug out of the soil, tears streamed down my face. Back at the police station, the forensic doctor performed an autopsy as soon as possible. Knowing that I was in a bad mood, the police told me to wait for the results before making a statement. 3 hours later, the police handed me the autopsy report. It showed that the child had indeed died of illness. Although the possibility of homicide was ruled out, Ji Shirshu will still be punished for improper handling of the body, making me raise his illegitimate child and registering it under my name. Ji Shirshu's actions are not considered illegal. Knowing that I was bothered by it, the policewoman taking the statement kindly advised, there are indeed no clear regulations on this in the law, but although the law cannot punish him, public opinion can. It depends on how you want to handle it. After a whole day of messing around, it was dark when I got back. I changed the password on the lock at home and deleted everyone's fingerprints except mine. At 10 o'clock in the evening, the doorbell rang. Maybe they were afraid I wouldn't open the door. While ringing the doorbell, the person outside was also shouting, "Moo moo. Open the door. Mom knows you're home." Seeing my parents, who were travel-worn and supposed to be traveling out of town, I frowned. Why are you back at this time? My mother's eyes were swollen badly, and upon hearing this, she said with a sob, with such a big thing happening, how could we possibly enjoy ourselves? If Ichin hadn't called me, were you planning to keep it from us the whole time? Hearing this, I lay on the sofa, raised my arm to cover my eyes, and didn't want to say anything. The reason my parents went out to play at this time was because we had just had a fight a few days ago. After having a child, they were like everyone else. Whenever something went wrong with the child, they felt it was my fault, that I didn't take good care of him. I didn't have much milk, and most of the time Lele ate formula. Even so, whenever I ate a little dessert, my mother would scold me, saying that I was too old to be so gluttonous, saying that I didn't care about the child's life. I can accept that my in-laws don't understand how difficult it is for me to take care of the child. But I can't accept that my own parents don't treat me like a person after I gave birth to the child. I told them that Lele was hard to take care of, that I was under a lot of pressure, and that I was feeling unwell. Only by eating some dessert could I feel better. And I had asked the doctor many times, and in terms of my milk supply, eating dessert would not have any impact on the child at all. But my mother wouldn't listen. She felt that everything had to be sacrificed for the child. She said that Lele was difficult to take care of because of the sins I had committed during pregnancy, saying that I was under a lot of pressure because I didn't know how to self-regulate. In her eyes, I was a useless person who couldn't take care of the child and made a mess of my own life. After another argument over a trivial matter, I completely broke down. My dad usually doesn't participate in the arguments between me and my mom. But that day, he spoke for the first time, constantly echoing what my mom was saying. I kicked them out. In a fit of anger, my mom signed up for a tour group, saying she would never say a word to me again. No matter what problems I encounter, don't look for her again. These things, one after another, are suffocating me. I don't even need to think about what my mom will say after I tell them. Since they can never see things from my perspective, why should I bother? Seeing that I didn't react to what she said, my mom cried, "Moo moo. Mom knows you've been wronged, just say whatever's on your mind, don't keep it all bottled up inside." Her crying stopped short because of my mocking gaze. Wronged? So you know that I can also feel wronged. Hearing this, my dad sighed. "Moo moo, your mom was crying all the way back. I know you blame us for not understanding you before. We were wrong. That's why, as soon as we found out Lula wasn't your child, we rushed back. This time, no matter what decision you make, your mom and I will support you. Actually, their presence or absence doesn't make much difference to me. Knowing them as I do, I know they'll most likely try to reconcile us if I tell them I want a divorce from Ji Shirshu. Actually, before dating Ji Shirshu, I was always indifferent to the idea of getting married and having children. I like money, I like the feeling of my savings growing bit by bit through my own efforts. But my parents don't understand. They kept talking about the benefits of marriage, saying that humans are social animals, that without marriage and children, life is incomplete. After hearing it so much, my own thoughts slowly began to waver. During the 5 years I was with Ji Shirshu, my parents kept urging us to get married quickly. And after we got married, my parents kept urging me to have children early. Although the final decisions were all mine, and I should bear the consequences. But it's undeniable that my parents played a big part in it. You guys go, I want to be alone. Normally, hearing me say this, my mom would definitely say I don't know what's good for me. But today, she got up swiftly, without saying a word. Before going out, she turned back to look at me. "Your dad and I will pick you up tomorrow morning, let's send the child off together." Cremation usually takes place during the day, and I didn't want the child to be alone in the crematorium all night. So I discussed it with the police and asked them to put the child in the police station's dissecting room first, and I would pick her up tomorrow morning. That night, I didn't sleep well. In my dreams, I kept hearing a little girl's voice calling Mama. I cried all night without realizing it. The next morning, the friends I had called yesterday to help basically showed up outside the police station. I glanced at Ji's parents, who were standing aside, at a loss, and walked in without paying them any attention. Ji Shirshu's handling of the child's body violated our local funeral management regulations. Yesterday, after learning from the police that I wanted to cremate and bury the child, Ji Shirshu, who had been detained for 24 hours, asked the police to relay a message, asking if he could wait until he was released to hold the funeral for the child. In front of G's parents, I said to the police, "Please tell him he doesn't deserve to be a father, and my daughter will never want to see him again." Surprisingly, G's mother didn't react to what I said. According to our customs, a funeral for a child who dies young should not be elaborate. Otherwise, it will affect the child's reincarnation. So, after receiving the body processed by the forensic doctor, we went to the crematorium. A little over an hour later, my daughter, whom I had never met, became a small jar of ashes in my arms. As I was about to leave, G's mother mustered her courage and walked up to me. "Moo Moo, where are you planning to put the child's ashes?" "If you don't mind, you can bury them in our G family's ancestral grave." In the older generation's view, children who die young are generally not allowed to be buried in the ancestral grave. Perhaps Ji Shirshu's actions were so excessive that Ji's parents felt a sense of guilt and wanted to use this method as compensation. But I didn't appreciate it at all. Is the Ji family a good place? I won't let my daughter suffer even after death. A nonchalant sentence shut Ji's mother up completely. After dealing with the child's affairs, I didn't rest for a minute and found a lawyer to draft a divorce agreement. At 7 o'clock in the evening, Ji Shirshu, unable to enter the house, rang the doorbell. As soon as he entered, without saying a word, he saw the divorce agreement I held out in front of him. "Sign it. Let's get the certificate tomorrow morning." Ji Shirshu usually pays a lot of attention to his appearance. But after being detained for 24 hours, his beard had grown, and there were dark circles under his eyes. He no longer looked like the campus heartthrob he once was. "Does it really have to come to this?" Ji Shirshu's voice was hoarse, as if he hadn't had water for days. I shook the divorce agreement and asked in confusion, "Do you really think that after I found out about what you did, I could forgive and forget and continue to live with you? What are you dreaming about? Are you not afraid of me stabbing you to death in the middle of the night?" Ji Shirshu was choked speechless by me. After taking a deep breath, he took the pen and paper and signed his name on it. "I plan to sell the house. It's too late today, so pack a couple of clothes and go stay outside. After we complete the divorce procedures, you can come back and pack your things." Being able to sign the divorce agreement proves that Ji Shirshu agreed to leave with nothing. So, he didn't react much when he heard me say I was going to sell the house. He just didn't expect that I wouldn't even let him stay for one more night. "Lin Muning, do you have to be so ruthless? We're not even divorced yet. Don't I even have the right to live here?" "No, you don't," I said seriously. "I feel disgusted just seeing you, and I can't breathe when I'm in the same space as you, so you have to go out and live." Furious, Ji Shirshu left without taking anything. I was happy to be rid of him, locked the door from the inside, and prepared to wash up and go to sleep. Perhaps because everything had settled, I slept quite well that night. The next day at the Civil Affairs Bureau, Ji Shirshu, who was already waiting there, had eyes full of bloodshot. It was obvious that he hadn't slept all night. When the staff asked the reason for the divorce, I said without changing my expression, "He cheated, made me raise the child he had with his mistress, and secretly buried my daughter who died shortly after birth." A short sentence packed a huge amount of information. The people around us all looked over. Ji Shirshu, who didn't expect me to say these things in public, was trembling with anger, but he couldn't say a word of denial. We had to wait 30 days to get the divorce certificate. The thought of having to see Ji Shirshu again made me feel nauseous. Leaving the gate of the Civil Affairs Bureau, I walked straight ahead, pretending not to hear Ji Shirshu calling my name from behind. When I was washing up last night, I had already thought about what I was going to do next. First of all, and most importantly, I had to take care of my body, which had been greatly depleted. I went to the hospital for a comprehensive physical examination. On the doctor's advice, I did postpartum recovery. At the same time, I also signed up for a short-term fitness class. I was busy every day, but although I was tired, my spirits were getting better day by day. Ji Shirshu took a day off to come back and pack his things. His parents came with him. Knowing that I wouldn't say anything nice, the three of them didn't come to bother me. Without saying a word, they started packing as soon as they entered the door. It took most of the day to pack up all of Ji Shirshu's things. As he was about to leave with the last package, Ji Shirshu said in a hoarse voice, "Moo moo, I've always owed you an apology." I looked at him with a smile that was not a smile, and said nothing. Because the location of the house was good, it didn't take long to find a suitable buyer after it was put online. After completing all the procedures, my postpartum recovery course was also over. Just when I was about to look for a job again, my former leader called me. "Mu Ning, I've heard about some of your experiences. What are your plans next? Are you interested in returning to the company?" When I resigned, the only person I missed besides myself was my old leader. I shouldn't have refused his invitation. "But, leader, I want to leave the city for a while and see the world outside." I thought I would hear the leader's regretful voice, but he paused and suddenly laughed. "That's why I say you have my temperament. The company has just opened a branch in Haicheng and urgently needs capable people to preside over the overall situation. I was just wondering how to persuade you. How about it? Do you want to challenge yourself?" After being out of the workplace for 8 months, I thought I would have to start from scratch. I didn't expect my old leader to not only give me a job, but also promote me directly. "Leader, can I do it?" The leader pretended to be dissatisfied. "You're the one I brought out with my own hands. If I say you can do it, you can do it. Besides, I have to stay there for the first few months. I won't come back until you've completely gotten the hang of it." There was nothing to worry about. I quickly agreed and asked when we would leave. They knew I was going to work in another city. My parents wanted to stop me but couldn't find a reason. They knew how much I had suffered because of that wrong marriage. Now that I had finally stood up again, they would never hinder my progress at this time. "You're grown up now, do whatever you want to do in the future. We'll come visit you when we're free, and if you're tired, just quit your job and come home. Your dad and I can afford to support you." I was a little unaccustomed to hearing my mother's rare soft words. The day after receiving my divorce certificate, I boarded a plane to Haicheng. The next time I heard Ji Shirshu's name, I had already been in Haicheng for 3 months. During this time, while learning management skills from my old leader, I also led my staff to negotiate 2 successful collaborations. My life was back on track, even better than before. But Ji Shirshu's life had entered a low point. As for He Shiqing, after entering the police station that day, she never appeared in front of me again. Because she had destroyed my family and was pregnant out of wedlock. She was kicked out of the house by her parents. With nowhere else to go, she took Lele to Ji Shirshu's parents' house. Lele was indeed not an easy child to take care of. Her previous performance in front of He Shiqing and Ji's parents was completely to deliberately anger me. He Shiqing didn't know how to take care of children. In less than a month, she was so exhausted that she lost the desire to dress up. Perhaps they felt that He Shiqing had ruined Ji Shirshu's life. Ji's parents did not agree to Ji Shirshu and her getting married. She was just a nanny in the Ji family. Even worse than I was before. After another failed attempt to force marriage, He Shiqing abandoned Lele and ran away. No one knew where she went. And Ji's parents finally felt the terror of a high-needs baby. They were old and didn't have that much energy to take care of a child. Ji Shirshu wanted to hire a nanny. But someone spread the word about what he had done. Everyone in the company knew what he had done. To maintain stability, the company demoted and cut Ji Shirshu's salary. Now he had to raise a child who was often sick. Where would he have extra money to hire someone? Once again, Ji Shirshu's sleep was disturbed by Lele's crying in the middle of the night. He blocked the child's mouth with a pillow. By the time he came to his senses, Lele was already dead. Ji Shirshu was arrested for intentional homicide. His parents, because their grandson was killed by their son, one had a stroke and the other had a cerebral hemorrhage. No one in the family fared well. Half a year later, I saw He Shiqing on the trending searches. In the video, she was heavily pregnant, being beaten violently in the street by an older woman. Looking at He Shirching's tear-streaked profile, I thought of the agreement we made before I met Ji Shirshu. Moo moo, if you have a daughter and I have a son in the future, let's arrange a marriage for them. What did I say back then? What era is this? We believe in freedom of marriage and love now, but they can be childhood sweethearts. I did have a daughter, and she did have a son. Unfortunately, fate plays tricks, and the two children even share the same father. I still don't know when she and Ji Shirshu got together. I can't be bothered to ask, and neither of them told me. It's all in the past. After this experience, I have completely lost interest in marriage. For the rest of my life, I will live every day for myself. No one can sway my thoughts anymore.